Hey guys, reacting to another one of my old videos. For those who don't know, I used to eat a raw food diet, a low-fat, high carb, high fruit raw food diet, like 80-10-10 kind of deal. So this one is called "That's Too Much Fruit on a Low-Fat Raw Vegan Diet?" Question mark. So implying that no, it's not too much fruit. You idiot. This was uploaded January 27th, 2010. So yeah, that's quite a while ago. And just like the last video that I did, the traveling raw one, I have not seen this video in I don't even know how long. So this should be fun. It's 8 minutes, so it's even longer than the last one. Cool. What is going on with my hair? I mean, my hair looks like shit now, let's be real, but it's real weird there. It's like it's layered kind of, but I don't know. It's not a good look for me. This was definitely when I was super thin, and yeah, pretty sure I was not menstruating then, not ovulating then, so that's cool. By cool, I mean not cool, obviously. Yeah, I was pretty thin. That's close to my thinnest. I actually was thinner than that for a little while. And look at all the bananas. Oh my gosh. And those are gross, by the way. Those are way too ripe. I don't know how I ever ate bananas that ripe. To me, a perfect banana is yellow and it's just starting to get brown spots. Like just the teeny tiny little brown spots. That's when it's like, it's sweet, but it's just like a tiny bit starchy. Oh, that's when bananas are so delicious, and they're not even close to having that like fermented taste. Like at that point, those bananas are gonna taste like fermented and disgusting. I don't understand how I ate that.
Today's topic for the video is how can someone eat so much fruit on a low-fat raw food diet? How can you eat that much fruit? So
I'm wondering that I like how how did I eat oh man. This was before I was eating the 30 bananas a day. So 30 bananas a day was pre-Raw Till 4 Freely's thing. Before Raw Till 4, she thought cooked food was evil and terrible and was 100% raw all the way. That's when she started her 30 bananas a day forum. So this was before I started following that and eating just tons and tons and tons of fruit a day, like at least 2,500 calories. During that time, I mean, I would make like a 10 banana smoothie. Oh my God. Like it would be bananas. Yeah, it would be like bananas and water. And I think that's it. Sometimes I'd put some like vanilla in it, like vanilla extract. Sometimes I'd blend some other fruit up, but it's really nauseating.
the 80-10-10 diet, which is Dr. Graham's diet,
Are you gonna pee on the floor? Oh my gosh. Okay, crisis averted. The cat was totally gonna scratching up the floor like, come on, come on, let me out. I'm totally gonna pee on your carpet.
Douglas Graham, and that's essentially a low-fat diet. So it's a diet of
So those who don't know, Douglas Graham is the creator of the 80-10-10 diet. He's pretty much been like excommunicated, I guess, from the low-fat raw community. I mean, I don't really know if there really is a low-fat raw community anymore. I guess it would be mostly like fully raw. I don't know if she's really even promoting low fat still though. I don't really know. I know she's using like protein powder now, which is pretty awesome. I know that's kind of how it started for me. I started like using protein powder. I started using salt. You know, those are kind of the gateway foods, it seems like. But and the cat's back. Okay, so apparently he can open the door on his own. You gonna be chill? Come on, calm down. Okay, so Doug Graham, yeah, 80-10-10, and there was a whole thing with a woman named Leah, and then that kind of snowballed, and all these other people came out saying that his fasting retreat was just terrible, and there was no actual medical intervention or anything like that. There were no actual doctors. Yeah, so a whole bunch of other people came out and were just like, yeah, or they had already shared their stories, but I guess not in a way that Leah did, where she like made a video and talked about it and it just blew up. So he was like kicked out of the Woodstock Fruit Festival, I think, and all this other stuff. So yeah, that's Doug Graham. He's a real nice guy.
at least 80% carbohydrates, which would be sweet fruit, a maximum of 10% fat, and a maximum of 10% protein. So it consists of
Why a maximum of 10% fat? I mean, read his book. It's not, there's no evidence for that whatsoever. It's just like, hey, these other guys said that too, like 30 years ago. Like, what was his name? The natural hygienist guy, Shelton? Herbert Shelton, is that right? And like TC Fry and all of them, and I think Pritikin and all these other people. It's like, well, they said it, so. And that's all I'm doing here. It's like, well, he said it. Well, that guy said it, and it sounds good to me, so I'm just parroting it. Oh, it's so bad.
Pretty much sweet fruit as you care to eat. A moderate amount of greens, usually about 1 to 2 pounds of greens. That's about
A moderate amount of grains. Now, to be clear, this is raw. This is not cooked. Like, this is raw, a pound of raw. That's the funniest thing. Like, when I remember, I would just kind of assume that I was eating that much because I didn't really want greens, at first. I just wanted fruit. It's what drew me to this diet. I could just eat like fruit, whatever. It's totally easy. But then, of course, you run into the like, okay, this isn't satisfying anymore, and you want savory things. So I started eating more vegetables and stuff. But when you actually like look at like a pound of lettuce, which is one of the only things you can really eat raw, I could eat, like, I have a pretty intense digestive system, so I can eat some raw broccoli, but even I can't eat a lot of raw broccoli. It will destroy me. I will be in such pain. So yeah, you're left with really like just really watery vegetables, right? Like some romaine and iceberg and kale. You can do some kale, but let's be real, kale is so much better cooked than it is raw, with like some garlic. Ooh, and you can't have garlic, no garlic, no onions. Yeah, so once you do that and you actually like weigh out like a pound of romaine lettuce, oh my God, it's so much. It's really, really hard to eat that much. And to be clear, if you're just eating like romaine, like you're not gonna meet your iron needs even if you're eating a pound of romaine. Like if you are a woman, a premenopausal woman who needs like about 18 milligrams, possibly more as a vegan. It's not really clear, but probably not, around 18 or so. And who knows with raw foods? It's not really clear about the absorption rate of some of these things. But yeah, like you're not gonna be able to meet your iron needs eating fruit all day and a little bit of lettuce at the end of the day, and like zinc and calcium, and oh gosh. It's really difficult. It's easier if you're at least eating fat. Like if you're eating a lot of fat, that's going to help so much because your fat's going to come from primarily nuts and seeds, unless you're just eating a lot of oil. But if you're focused on like whole, nuts and seeds, you can get a lot of zinc. I mean, you eat some pumpkin seeds, that'll really help with zinc. You can get at least some calcium. Calcium's still going to be a little bit difficult. Yeah, so that's gonna help a lot if you're eating more fat. But if you're eating like low fat like I was, oh man, it immediately sets you up for failure. I'm really surprised I did it as long as I did. So that's something. I mean, it's not like I'm proud of myself. I'm just kind of like shocked. I don't know.
On a 2,000 calorie diet, about a third to a half of an avocado a day, or an ounce of nuts a day.
No, I will have my avocado a day if I want to have an avocado a day. No, it's so funny. I've eaten like 2 of these just awesome granola bars. I don't know if I'll upload the what I ate today before this or after this, but there's what I ate today that I've kind of recorded, and it's got these delicious granola bars that I make that are just full of fat. It's like peanut butter and sunflower seeds and almonds and what else? Walnuts and hemp seeds. It's like basically all fat, and like oats and a little bit of banana. It's almost all fat, and they're so delicious. And just the thought of like I can have like a quarter of one of those a day. Like I have to limit myself because I don't know, because I thought fat was bad, and because I listened to really stupid people.
This is my lunch for today. It's about 8 or 9 bananas.
Oh wow, okay, so I was eating that much fruit. Okay, and I put a little annotation that says, actually, I ate 10 bananas, smiley face. So I guess I was having at least some meals that were that much fruit. Okay, that's like 1,000 calories of fruit. Oh God. And it's not even good bananas. Like I could eat probably like 2 or 3, like the bananas I described, like perfect bananas. I could eat like 2 or 3 of those at a time. If I like, that third banana would not be very enjoyable, but I could do it. But eating 10 of too overripe banana. Oh gosh. I'm just amazed I was able to do that.
A lot of people say, oh my gosh, how can you eat that much food? Well, the way I like to answer that is too much or so much is just a relative term. It really doesn't mean anything.
No, it does. When you're eating 10 bananas for a meal, it means something. It means you're eating too many goddamn bananas. That's what it means.
So if I did the standard, I guess it would be probably 500 calories for a meal for me, so 5 bananas. I'd be hungry again in a couple hours. And if I
Yeah, because you're not getting anything. Like, the answer is not to just eat more calories than you need. It's so wasteful. It's something I've talked about in a few videos, just how wasteful a raw food diet is. In terms of just water usage, you know, and in terms of like the production of most fruits and vegetables versus staples like grains and beans, but also just how many more calories you need to eat. I mean, you do need to eat at least some more calories. I found even when I wasn't eating like 2,500, 3,000 calories a day, doing like 30 bananas a day. But after that, when I started eating more greens and I was able to cut down my calories, I was still eating more than I normally would on like just a normal, healthy, you know, appropriately planned vegan diet. So it's really wasteful. And then also all the fruit and vegetables that you are inevitably going to throw out because stuff will go bad. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I bought like cases of mangoes and almost all of them were bad. Whereas now, if I'm buying mangoes, I'm buying like 2 or 3 mangoes. So if those mangoes are bad, it's 2 or 3 versus like 20, right? Whereas if you buy like a bag of beans, they're very, very likely going to be fine and they're going to be fine for a while. So yeah, it's just inevitably such a wasteful diet.
If I did that long enough for days, weeks at a time, I guarantee you I would have cravings again, and I guarantee you I would give in to cooked food again. I would not be able to sustain myself on this diet if I didn't eat this much food.
It's funny because now I eat cooked food. Yeah, I'm just like assuming that I'm gonna eat raw foods forever. Of course, I'm always gonna eat fruits and vegetables, and I'm gonna be healthy and skinny because that's what this was all about, really. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I can't get over this weird hair. What is this haircut?
If you look at cows, for instance, cows eat grass all day long.
Very good.
You know,
So
would you go up to a cow and say, "Cow, how can you eat that much grass? That's so much grass. There's no way you can eat all that. It's just insane." Well, yeah, for you or I, it'd be too much grass because we don't eat grass. Well, some of us eat grass, but that's not.
am I trying to say it's natural? Is that what I'm going for? I assume so because that's one of the things is that like we're frugivores and so we're supposed to live on fruit. It's natural. It's a natural diet. Just like cows eat grass, we eat fruit. I think that's where I'm going with this.
But again, there are people out there who, you know, low-fat raw vegan athletes who eat well over double this amount, pretty much on a daily basis.
Again, so incredibly wasteful. So wasteful. I mean, it's one thing if you're being paid, like if you're actually a professional athlete and you're being paid and that's just a consequence of your job, you have to eat more. But if you're just doing that just to do it and you're eating like double the amount of calories, I don't know. I don't know.
And the same with low fat. I mean, the diet really isn't low fat. It's really just right in terms of what's right for the human species. But
Oh, there we go. What is it? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. That would be one of those claims. I guess the saddest thing, it's like it's so easy to just debunk this stuff. Just all of it. It's like, where do you get that information? What is that? Where is the evidence for that? No.
relative to obviously a standard American diet, which is usually between 20 and 30%, closer to 30% fat, or even a standard raw food diet, which is closer to 60% fat. So relative to...
Is that actually true? A standard raw food diet, 60% fat? I don't know if that's actually true. Like, where did I get that information from? I guarantee you it was just something that, like, Doug Graham said. I mean, my fat intake is easily, like, 40-something% on a lot of days. So, man, 60%, whew, sounds delicious.
This is the only diet where you can eat as much as you want. I mean,
Okay, so that's the number one. Yes, you have to limit yourself even with fruit, right? Like you can easily gain weight. I gained a lot of weight eating as much fruit as I wanted. But also this idea that like you can eat as much as you want. It's an abundance diet. Never mind the fact that we're limiting your food source to fruit and vegetables and like a tiny bit of nuts and seeds. So even like some of the tasty raw things, even though a lot of them aren't raw like cashews, but whatever. But even some of like the tasty raw things that you can eat, no, you can only have like a tiny, tiny little palmful of those. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It is in no way an abundance diet. It is in no way a freeing diet. It is an incredibly restrictive diet. It really did that you could believe that you could eat as much fruit as you wanted. I mean, at this time, I hadn't been doing this for that long, really. It had been serving me fairly well. I mean, in terms of my ultimate goal, which was weight loss, it was serving me pretty well. I was pretty skinny. You know, I just hadn't been doing it long enough to really see the negative effects. And the negative effects that I did have, like being cold all the time, like my hands and feet would just get so incredibly cold. And I liked drinking smoothies cold, like that, just a warm smoothie would make me sick, so I would have to drink them really cold. And there were days where I would drink it and I would have to go take a shower like immediately because I would be so incredibly cold. And just like wearing scarves when it was like 70 degrees outside because I was freezing, like it's kind of insane. Like there are videos where older videos where she's wearing gloves and stuff, and that's probably why, because your extremities get so cold. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't been doing it long enough to really start to experience the longing for other foods, right? Like needing other foods and more like savory and mineral rich foods and more protein and whatnot. So to me, it was just like I did feel relatively satisfied for a while. And again, some of it was just placebo and wanting it to work, right?
I could finally sit down and just eat until I was full and not have to worry about calories and not have to worry about, oh God, but if I eat this.
So the thing is, I always had a problem with being able to tell the difference between like full and just stuffed. Even when I was younger, I remember on numerous occasions eating and feeling I was still hungry and then feeling nauseous. Like I couldn't find the place in between where it was like, okay, I've had enough food, I feel good. I remember that happening so many times, and a lot of it was I just ate shit. You know, I'd come home from school and eat like cereal and sunflower seeds and ice cream and that kind of stuff. So that was a lot of it. It's hard to feel satiated and to really know when you're full when you're just eating sugar, right? Just sugar and like animal fat. So yeah, I always kind of had that problem, but this didn't solve it. I mean, it just filled up my stomach in terms of volume. It really didn't solve it. And again, eventually I did start to really feel the effects of that really a lot on 30 bananas a day, that kind of style of eating where I was just focusing so much on fruit. And man, I just really wanted savory stuff. It helped so much when I started eating more greens and having a salad every single day. I mean, that's if you are eating low fat in particular, but even if you're just eating raw, not limiting your fat, you have to eat greens every single day. You have to eat a lot of vegetables every single day. So I would have a salad at the end of every day, and I did increase my fat intake. I did have fat every day, but I made sure it was 10% or less. And yeah, that's the only way you can really eat greens raw, in my opinion. Like, I remember some recipes, just take a bunch of greens and put some orange juice over it. Delicious. Like, no. So I started making, these dressings out of like pistachios. For salt, I would use celery powder, like dehydrated celery that you then grind up. And it is delicious. It really is. But it's incredibly expensive. I mean, one compared to like salt, right? I mean, one head of celery makes like tiny amount that you then grind up. I would use like half of that on one salad, and of course you're not getting any iodine because it's not iodized, right? That's one of the big problems is unless you're eating a lot of seaweed, which on 80-10-10 seaweed is discouraged. That was one of the things I started eating as well, was seaweed, was dulse flakes. That was one of the early foods to get me away. You know, like I talked about Christina eating, you know, protein powders now and using a bit of salt. Usually seaweed is one of the kind of gateway foods out of raw foods as well.
This one extra, you know, bite of sandwich, then I'm going to be over my caloric intake for the day and I'm going to gain weight and it's going to be horrible, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to worry about that. The only thing
you don't have to worry about that anyway. Oh my gosh, who worries about taking one extra bite of a sandwich and going, oh my god, I'm going to gain weight and it's going to be horrible? You have an eating disorder. If you are worried about that, you need to probably talk to someone. That's not healthy.
You have to worry about is getting enough food to make sure you eat enough. I mean, for me, that was completely freeing and just wonderful. I'm still in awe over it. Over 2 years later, and I still...
Me too. I'm still in awe looking at the pile of disgusting, spotty bananas.
And I think that's it. So y'all have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go eat. Bye-bye.
Oh, I was so nice. What happened? I'm so glad I don't eat that way anymore. I'm so glad I don't have a meal of bananas to look forward to every day. That's just the saddest thing. I've been making so much delicious food lately. Really delicious stuff. Lots of soups and wraps and lots of beans. And, you know, it's so healthy. It's so delicious. It really, really tastes good because I can use salt and I can use garlic. I mean, oh my god, I use so much garlic and so much onion and all the things that make food taste delicious. And it's just so sad that I couldn't use any of those things. I had to rely on a meal of bananas. It's just so sad. And I couldn't eat those delicious granola bars. I watched one of Christina's recent videos. A very berry smoothie, nice cream, right? And like you see the thumbnail and it's like, okay, it's gonna be bananas, frozen bananas and frozen berries, and you're gonna blend them up and that's gonna be it. That's it. And of course you watch the video and it's like, yeah, that's it. I think she used some protein powder as well and maybe like some vanilla in it. And I feel kind of bad because like a lot of the comments are like, didn't you already make this recipe? Like all your recipes are the same. And it's like, yes, they have to be. You're so limited what you can eat. It's just a bunch of fruit. I mean, yeah, there are a fair number of fruits, but number one, you're not gonna like all the fruits, right? I mean, when I was raw, I loved papaya, I loved peaches, I loved tomatoes, I loved avocado, but that's kind of a no-no. You can have your third to half of an avocado a day, and that's it. Mangoes, like when mangoes were really good, those were the fruits that I really like. And you notice, like, those fruits were all expensive. Like, there's a reason I had a meal of bananas. Like, that wasn't my favorite thing to eat. I would much rather have mangoes or papaya or whatever else, but I was limited just in terms of money, right? And availability. Like delicious mangoes are not available all year round. Delicious papaya is not available all year round. Peaches, of course, it's like a few months a year. And then of course, during the winter, like not being able to eat a warm thing, not being able to have warm soup. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you guys know all of this, I'm sure. But yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to see kind of where I've come from, I guess, in terms of my diet and veganism. I think I talked about a little bit my journey to vegan and how, I mean, you'll notice like these two videos, they have nothing to do with ethics. They have nothing to do with veganism at all. I was pretty much solely focused on diet and fruit and weight loss. It was not about the animals. It was not about the environment. So I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments below. And of course, if you want to subscribe, you can do that. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting the channel. I really, really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I will have a new video very soon.